seek your guidance on this.
Osoro. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, he's still occupying our space, Mr. Speaker. Why can't they just move to their side?
Order, Robert Mbui. Order, Robert Mbui. If you listen to me carefully, Robert Mbui, order members. And I want you to listen to this carefully. Order members. Order. I did say Robert Mbui, and you are misconducting yourself. You are too senior to be told to leave the chamber. I did say, and I want to repeat, and Millie Odhiambo, who raised the point, has read this judgment clearly. The judgment quashed the direction of the Speaker on the majority-minority. The judgment never declared who is the majority. It is not the court to declare the majority. It is the Speaker of this House. And you better know that. It is the Speaker of the House to declare the majority. Robert Mbui gone. Not Osoro.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to speak it up from what you've actually said, Honorable Speaker. That even upon reading the judgment of the court, the standing orders of this House, Honorable Speaker, gives you power to declare who is the majority and who is the minority. We appreciate the judgment of the court as it is. We are ventilating about the judgment. We respect the courts. But again, it is these very laws that govern, as Honorable Speaker, that give you that power, as Honorable Speaker, to declare the majority and minority. So even as Honorable Junet and the Honorable Millie, Honorable Speaker, live on rented space, they should know that the final declaration of majority and minority comes from your seat, Honorable Speaker. But even then, Honorable Speaker, perhaps we should ponder and ask ourselves these very pertinent questions. In the past 2 years that we've served in this House, Honorable Speaker, we've served in these capacities, as it were, on who is the majority and who is the minority, Honorable Speaker. Several decisions have been made. We have formations of the committees that fall on the majority, minority, chairman, the committees that are supposed to be led by members from the majority side, and the committees that are led by the members of the minority side. Does it mean, Honorable Speaker, that every decision that has been passed by the committees, or any report that has been passed by the committee that falls on the minority, as it were then, and the majority, is it rendered mute as it is right now, Honorable Speaker? If going by the judgment, if we read on the judgment, like they want us to define it as it, just on plain paper, Honorable Speaker, that is question one. Question two that we should ask ourselves, Honorable Speaker. Right now, the selection panel, Honorable Speaker, of the IEBC, that was nominated by both the minority parties or the Parliamentary Service Commission, that minority party brought the membership, the majority party brought the membership. The IEBC selection panel has already started working, Honorable Speaker, right now in terms of selecting the next commissioners. What then happens to them? What happened to that selection panel? Because they were appointed on the basis of the majority and the minority when the Parliamentary Service Commission submitted the names. Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves, Honorable Speaker. The Commission for Revenue Authority, Honorable Speaker, that again is a preserve of both the minority and the majority. Honorable Speaker, what then happens on the decisions that have been made in the past 2 years? The allowances that have been paid, Honorable Speaker, the travels that have been made, everything that we've passed, Honorable Speaker, in this House. Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, because we are at the midterm of this Parliament, Honorable Speaker. Even as you retire to make this your ruling, Honorable Speaker, it is important for us, Honorable Speaker, to ask ourselves those very pertinent questions, because we shouldn't just be
Okay. Thank you, Osoro. Give him a minute.
Honorable Speaker, you see, we shouldn't just be talking about positions on who is the minority, who is the majority leader. And as Honorable Junet as well put it, we are all members of Parliament and we can serve in whatever capacity. But let's look at the implications of this decision, Honorable Speaker. What happens to what we've passed in the past 2 years? What happens to the right decisions that are leading this country in the past 2 years, Honorable Speaker? What happens to the IEBC selection panel? Those are the questions. Otherwise, I'll tell my colleagues, the Honorable Millie Odhiambo, who is saying that she has added in her CV the position of the chief whip of the majority. She'll only do that, Honorable Speaker, in her dreams. It will not work. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
David Ocheng.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the three judges.
Order, honorable members, can we listen to each other?
I want to thank
Save David Ocheng's time. Order, members. Order. Order, members on their feet. Take your seats. Honorable members, I have given you guidance and I want to repeat. The upshot of the judgment of the court, in law we say, we go back to the status quo ante. Status quo ante. When you go back to the status quo ante, then the House has to make a decision and a finding on who the majority is. The court has not declared any party a majority in this House. Read the judgment carefully. Don't speak from what you are hearing in the air. That is number one. Number two, order, Wanjala. I'm just giving you guidance so that you don't speak irrelevantly. We have gone back to the status quo ante. Convince the House as to its majority, the Speaker will make a finding. On a fact. David Ocheng.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the three judges for their judgment of last week, Mr. Speaker. We got a new constitution that we keep testing and that keeps guiding us on how we run our affairs as a country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, under the law we pass in this parliament on coalition making, Mr. Speaker, it is presumed that there will be coalitions, people will leave coalitions, some will enter coalitions, Mr. Speaker, and so it is presupposed that in any term of parliament, Mr. Speaker, one side will be a minority today, tomorrow that side may be a majority, because this is a moving target, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as to who is minority or majority is not cast in stone, and therefore the finding by the court, Mr. Speaker, that the decision on who is majority and minority in the 13th parliament was decided on 8th of August 2022 is wrongful, Mr. Speaker. I disagree with it because, Mr. Speaker, today, if Ford Kenya and ANC that was left Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and joined Azimio will have more members than the remaining UDM, Mr. Speaker. And in that regard, Azimio will be the majority party, Mr. Speaker, and will be called upon to make that decision as Speaker and will decide as so. So I disagree with the judge's finding that the decision on who is majority and minority was made once. It cannot be made once. It depends on the facts of the day in this House. If, for example, tomorrow I'll be heard, I'm sure I'm going to be heard. I'm sure I'm going to be heard. I will be heard, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, if today in Azimio, if Wiper left and Jubilee left and UDM left, Mr. Speaker, Azimio will have only ODM with 85 members, Mr. Speaker. It will be a minority. So the decision on who is minority and majority, Mr. Speaker, moves like a pendulum depending on who has left which coalition. So you cannot tell us that that decision is made once only in the election, Mr. Speaker. And that's why the judges are wrong on this matter, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, very important, Mr. Speaker, it's very important to note, Mr. Speaker, that the day you made this decision, Mr. Speaker, the day you decided on this matter, you had facts before you. You had evidence before you telling you that UDM has left Azimio. MDG has left Azimio. UDM, MDG, NCPP, PA, you had those facts before you. You couldn't ignore those facts. You can't ignore them. Even in this, Mr. Speaker, you made a finding, Mr. Speaker, that the courts have not said that Azimio is a majority. The courts have said, go back and decide. And so, Azimio must today convince you.
Yes. Morogara, I'll give you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what you need to decide on is the wording of Article 108 of the Constitution and the Standing Order number 19 of our Standing Orders. Of importance is the use of the verb to be in that particular article and in that particular